Hello, this is Lance Wolf, and this is Iron Wolf Productions. And this is the LRB. This all started while doing another project, doing a prop rifle. While digging through the bins, I ran across these toy night vision binoculars that were broken that a friend had picked up at a flea market. And I thought it'd be perfect to combine this with a concept from the same universe. This is a remote sentry drone, and I thought the shape of the shield, since I wanted to put a shield on the binoculars, this shape translated well. I thought that doing this way things from your universe all match if you borrow from elements to help sell the universe, even down to the logos placed on it the same way. So first I had to assemble a tray full of all the knobs and things that I thought that could improve these laser rangefinder binoculars, my LRBs. And that's what you do when you start a project, that these are all the things I think I might be able to use. And I had these great lenses and knobs from a previous project that have actually painting pen marks on them. But there I printed out the shield, the shape of the shield, to help sell this universe. And then just assembled things on some foam core just to kind of figure out the placements. And then creating knobs that I could mount, putting pegs in so I could drill them into the plastic to try to improve the toy, to make the toy more believable, adding extra little plastic parts to it wherever I could. On the bottom of the binoculars, I had a rubber coaster where I added this perfect round rubber mount on the bottom, and that kind of, these are all the things that help sell the believability of like a good cosplay item. You know, you want sci-fi binoculars, so utilizing a toy and then kit bashing it, you could really come up with something quick. And then leaving it in different tones, the different tonalities, helps sell the believability of an object. And it was perfect. I just added some parts, or decided parts I would leave gloss black. Luckily the toy had a great tonality to it, so most of the knobs that I added just perfectly matched it. You couldn't even tell anything was actually added to the toy. You know, I added a total of 4 knobs on the top, put a great knob on the top, and I had these great little tuner knobs from an old broken down equalizer, and they were perfect. They didn't even need painting. They were the same glossy type plastic. Now here I'm using some flat Tamiya paint to just try to touch up the places where the masking didn't take the way I wanted. And then there's that perfect rubber coaster that I just glued to the bottom. These are all little things you want to add to the toy because you want the toy to look more believability, more realistic. If you want to sell a good cosplay, production prop. And since I built the rifle, I wanted everything to kind of match from that universe. And that's what goes into, it's a quick, inexpensive prop. I needed a pair of binoculars for an upcoming video, since I'll have the rifle, and I'm actually making a costume. And I thought, you know what, these toy binoculars sitting in a bin, I could add some quick parts to them, make a quick one-day build, and make something very quickly believable. And then while marring up a toy, this is what sells it. This is what makes it believable. I have a way of doing it. I usually use this. I have 2 kinds of off-brand paint. They're from just an art store, and one of them is pewter, which is a much darker metal tone, and then one is aluminum. And aluminum really picks up light, and it depends which one you want to use on an object. The rifle I used pewter. This needed aluminum. It needed to look like what this is made of. The scratches, this helps sells the believability of an object. And I have 2 methods, using a toothpick or a wooden disposable chopstick. I feel that impacts the object the way it would in real life. It's coming up against that type of surface. So when you think of creatively where you're going to put your scratches, to denote where, you don't want to overdo your scratches. You only want to place them where would be occurring. And then you don't want to overdo it, because then it's just used and abused. Now, again, I don't use painting pens. I feel painting pens deliver too much paint. I'm not knocking anyone who uses a painting pen. I just never feel I get the type of control or realistic look. I feel this technique really delivers a realistic marring scratch. And then using a very stiff, dry brush adds that little bit of extra wear to it. And then, anything you can put, like I said, this is a quick, cheap, one-day build to create some quick sci-fi binoculars for a costume. And you know, like the gun is a Nerf gun kit bashed, which is in another video I hope you'll watch. And then this is a toy pair of binoculars that I added a ton of little plastic parts to, an old camera strap, a bunch of foam core, a bunch of knobs, and to try to really increase the look of this. And then the marring and the weathering, this just adds a certain level of realism to it. And then you wind up really quick, can really sell an object with all the different tonalities to it. Because the human eye, I feel, can tell if something is real or not. That's why I prefer real props, practical props, practical special effects, where sets are being built, actual props are being built. I feel it's too much CG in movies, and you can just tell, the human eye can tell when something is not real. And I feel that practical effects really are still the way to go. You know, you can look back on other movies that have models that to this day still hold up more than things currently. But now I'm getting ready to add little elements to create a totalitarian look, and I feel this really sells the believability of any prop. If you ever look at the model of a fighter jet, comes with tons of little teeny warning labels: don't step here, hatch here, explosive bolts. You know, that's what helps sells that model. And I believe the same thing is, you know, needs to do with your prop. By adding these little elements like this is where a battery goes, this is the brand of this particular binocular, this is a warning label because it's a laser rangefinder binocular. I'm not sure if the eye registers these things, but I believe the eye notices when they're not there. The unconscious mind, it doesn't sell the prop. It doesn't look real. It's, oh, okay, it's a fancy pair of black binoculars. But having these little extra elements just really sells a believability. Whether the eye registers it or not, I believe when it's not there, it doesn't sell it as being believable. And here I already knew where I wanted to place them, but you always are unsure, like, well, let's test it here. Let's see if the label would work better somewhere else. I mean, I already pretty much know where I want to place it, and I wanted to place it similar to I did on the Remote Sentry model I built. Here I just reversed them and actually utilized some of the same decals I created, and these decals are paper decals, so they are light sensitive since it's a printout. So, you know, prolonged sunlight could have them fade in time, but for something to create a quick, inexpensive, camera-ready prop, just a quick printout in the computer of a logo I created in Photoshop using a little black marker to go around the edges of the cutout so you don't see the paper, and it registers fantastic in camera and just sells a believability. And here was just a question of placement and size as to how I wanted to see how this would work best. You know, you literally, if you want it to be believable, how big does a label have to be on a device? This is a tool. This is an everyday tool, and you know, everything has little markings and labels on it. And since this is a military device, I thought this would be perfect to utilize a shape from the same universe, so everything in that universe matches, and it would just go unseen. When you see this in a video with a vehicle that has this shield on it as well, you can tell it's from the same universe, and that's what I think helps sell believability. Now this is for an upcoming video I'm doing, so I had to imagine what it would look like to see through the viewfinder, and I'm going to try to animate these laser rangefinder binoculars that I thought would have a cool concept if they also had an IFF indicator, a friend or foe, built into it, which means that when you look at an object, it would identify the object whether it is a friend or foe. And I thought it would be great to have other little warning labels in it, because most good sci-fis always have a pair of binoculars in them. So here they are, a quick one-day build. I thought the lenses came out great, leaving them glossy plastic, and then the shield being flat and marred up like this shield. It's a perfect shield to these toy binoculars. Adding all the buttons, you know, added a ton of different knobs, little plastic pieces, and the best part is the toy already had a wonderful blue stripe on it, which meant all I needed to do was make sure that the labels matched the same color to help sell the universe. And at the end of this video is a quick from my director's guide showing the decals that went onto these laser rangefinder binoculars, and then also a quick diagram showing how I believe the viewfinder would look if you're looking, and I also showed all the extra warning symbols that would appear in the binoculars. And hopefully I can pull that off in a little quick opening for an upcoming video. But I just wanted to create a quick pair of cosplay type sci-fi laser rangefinder binoculars. There's the rubber that I stuck on the bottom off of a coaster. It just little things like that sell a believability to create a universe, to try to make something look more real and more fancy. And it was great that the buttons matched the toy such a degree tonally that it didn't look like I had to add anything. My name is Lance Wolf. Thank you so much for watching us, and I hope you enjoy the artwork.